Hi, my name is Amy Stoddard. I'm the Political Action Chair for the Seattle-King County NAACP. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what brought me to this organization and also what we're doing in terms of political action in King County. So I grew up in Chicago, and I feel like that has a big impact on how I relate in this world in terms of my passions. And so I was involved both with politics there and growing up in a community that is very diverse. Most of my friends were not white when I was growing up. So I experienced some of the racial problems that they have there with police, being proxy to that, and also, like I said, at the same time was working on political things. One of the big factors for me in terms of getting involved when it comes to racial justice is when I would ride in the car with my friends, they would always have me drive. And the reason for this is me being the only white person in the car, it was a lot safer for us to be driving around if I was driving versus any of my friends. Now that wouldn't mean we wouldn't get pulled over, it would just happen less often. And when we would, police would question me in ways of like, are you being harmed by these people in the car? Are you in any sort of danger? And I would always think, I'm just going somewhere with my friends. But it really made me see just how important it is for everybody to be treated in the same way. With those two things kind of in my background, I've always looked at policy and voting as two of the most important tools that we have in creating big picture changes in our world. So when I came to Seattle and moved here for reasons completely unrelated to those things, I decided that looking at a way where I could incorporate some of those passions of mine into something that I was doing was really important. And that's kind of where the NAACP comes in, because the NAACP nationally and within this branch have a strong focus on voting rights, voting registration, and education as a tool for change. The Political Action Committee focuses a lot on things around voting. In 2020, we had 4 candidate forums for different positions that were coming up in the November election. In 2021, we've had 10, all leading up to the election in November, to really help our members and members in the larger community really understand where these candidates stand on civil rights issues. We've also hosted 3 in-person, which is a big deal to say, I feel like this year, voter registration events that we had DJs at, and we still handed out masks if people were interested in them, and had them out at community spaces around the county to help encourage people to register to vote. We have also hosted legislative town halls, bringing legislators from both the state level and federal level to members of the NAACP branch to be able to ask questions of and learn about the policies that they are working towards creating to help create change in the community. Before every election, we hold events by ballot boxes to help encourage people to turn in their ballots. We wave signs and we hand out I voted stickers, which, as we know in Washington, is not a thing that everybody gets because we don't have voting locations that we always go to. So we like to, do those fun things that people aren't able to get and just make it a celebration around voting. We also, during the last legislative session, we would bring information back to our members that talked about different bills that were on the floor being looked at, and how you could help to encourage your members of Congress and your members of the House and the legislature in Olympia to pass these bills. Thinking ahead and thinking about how we can continue doing this kind of work, any donations that you can give are really helpful because it helps us expand where we're able to do these events. Currently we focus a lot on areas like Renton and Federal Way and Kent, but we're looking to expand to other parts of the county, and that takes additional funding to be able to do that and to bring people out to those different locations. So those are some of the ways that your donations can help the Political Action Committee and really the whole Seattle-King County NAACP expand what we're doing and expand our reach to further parts of the county. So the NAACP, specifically in King County, has a history of being able to create change through policy changes. The branch was founded because they wanted to protest Woodrow Wilson's policies around segregation of Black federal employees. That was the founding of the branch. And then moving forward from that, they've had their hands in a lot of policy changes, two of the significant ones being in the 1960s. So in 1966, they helped to push for desegregation of Seattle public schools before that happened nationally. And in 1968, they had been working throughout most of the 60s and finally got it passed in 1968, the Seattle Fair Housing Ordinance, which came in the same year that the National Fair Housing policies came in place. And what these did was basically made it illegal to do things like redlining and segregating of neighborhoods in the city, and allowed for people of color to be able to have home ownership in Seattle. Those are two things that the branch were heavily involved in, and those are some of the legacy of the policy changes that my committee tries to live up to and tries to promote moving forward. And like I said, voting is a huge part of how we can make those policy changes happen.